They left their campsite neat and tidy, a half-eaten breakfast, milk still cold, clothes neatly folded, and then they were gone. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, until the spring thawed the forest and revealed the horror it had been hiding all along. This is the story of a family that vanished into the Oregon wilderness and was never seen alive again. Hello, darlings, and welcome to another haunted bedtime story on R.I.P. with Lindsay. I'm your hostess of The Hush, your whisper in the dark, Lindsay Legrand. Tonight, we're leaving the glitzy lights of Las Vegas behind and descending into the misty forests of southern Oregon, where the trees have secrets and the wind still carries the echoes of a family that disappeared without a trace. This episode is brought to you by Chicken Wrap Productions, where every whisper is captured, polished, and sharpened to perfection. So pull your blankets a little tighter, darlings, because this one is about what the forest remembers. Part 1. The Family at Copper Creek. Labor Day weekend, 1974. Richard and Belinda Cowden were the kind of couple that made small-town life feel rather picturesque. They lived in White City, Oregon with their 2 children, 5-year-old David and 5-month-old Melissa. Richard worked as a logging truck driver, and Belinda was a homemaker. They were quiet, devoted, the kind of people neighbors would describe as normal, a word that always feels so deceptive in hindsight. That Friday, August 30th, the Cowdens loaded their 1956 Ford pickup, packed the baby's things, and drove toward the Siskiyou Mountains to spend the holiday near Copper Creek, just outside the Applegate area. It was supposed to be one last little adventure before the summer ended. They set up their campsite beside the creek, tall pines overhead, wild blackberry bushes along the trail, and the gentle rush of the stream nearby. Locals who passed by later said it was picture perfect. A young family smiling beside a green canvas tent, a picnic table covered in food, and the family dog, a basset hound named Droopy, sniffing about the woods. Part 2. The Vanishing. Sunday, September 1st. It was supposed to be their final day at the campsite. Richard planned to head home in the morning to milk the cows before the heat set in. But when he didn't show up, his mother grew concerned. By 7 p.m., she drove to the campsite herself. What she found there would haunt her for the rest of her life. The Cowdens' campsite was perfectly arranged, the family's belongings neatly in place. Belinda's purse, the baby's diaper bag, car keys, even the 5-month-old formula still sitting on the table. In fact, the milk carton was half full and the milk was still cold. Bowls of cereal were laid out entirely untouched. No sign of struggle, no sign of panic, just absence and the echo of silence. Droopy, the family's loyal dog, was also gone. A few hours later, at 8:30 p.m., the dog was found scratching at the door of the Cowden home, 30 miles away. How he'd gotten there, no one knew. Part 3. The Search. By Monday morning, September 2nd, search teams flooded the area, just as you'd expect. State police, Forest Service rangers, and over 150 volunteers combed the mountains. Helicopters scanned from above while divers searched the creek and nearby mining shafts. They found nothing. No footprints, no blood, no tire tracks, no signs of forced entry at the camp. It was as though the family had just evaporated. The theories multiplied quickly, as you would imagine. Had they gone for a hike and become lost? Had they been attacked by a bear or perhaps abducted by a stranger? Really, nothing made sense. A mother wouldn't leave her baby's formula behind. A father wouldn't leave his truck unlocked. And the campsite, it wasn't chaotic. It was meticulous, almost reverent, as if someone had cleaned it up after the fact. The local sheriff, Trooper Dickerson, was baffled. He called it the most mysterious case he'd ever seen. As fall turned to winter, the search was called off, and the forest swallowed its secret. Part 4. The Spring Thaw. 7 months later, in April of 1975, 2 gold prospectors hiking through the woods stumbled upon something horrific. About 7 miles from the Cowdens' original campsite, a small little cave in a rocky hillside. Inside were the decomposed remains of the entire Cowden family. Richard's body lay bound with rope. Belinda's remains were nearby, along with the children. All 4 of them had been murdered. Autopsies later revealed that Richard had been shot in the head with a .22 caliber gun. Belinda and the children were beaten, and 1, possibly 2, had been bound before death. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't nature. It was deliberate, calculated slaughter. Investigators concluded the killer had likely forced the family from their campsite, perhaps at gunpoint, and marched them deep into the forest, killing them one by one. The baby's remains were found wrapped carefully in a blanket. The same quiet attention to order mirrored from the campsite. It was as though whoever did this wanted their deaths to feel ritualistic. Part 5. The man named Dwayne. In small-town Oregon, people whispered one name, Dwayne Lee Little. He was 25 years old at the time of the murders, out on parole for raping and murdering a teenage girl in 1964. He had been 15 when he committed that crime, and he was released early for good behavior. He was seen in the area that same weekend, and witnesses reported a man matching his description hitchhiking near Copper Creek, carrying a .22 caliber rifle, the same caliber that killed Richard. A gas station attendant swore he'd seen Little with a young woman that weekend, and her family later claimed she was terrified of him. A minor remembered seeing a truck similar to the Cowdens parked oddly near the crime scene, with 2 men inside. Despite multiple circumstantial links, Little's criminal record, his presence near the site, his violent history, police never had enough to charge him. Years later, a prison informant claimed Little confessed to killing the Cowdens, but no corroboration followed. In 1980, Little was sent back to prison for assault and rape again. He remains incarcerated to this day, but not officially for the Cowdens. That case, to this day, is unsolved. Part 6. Let's take a look at the evidence. Key facts that haunt investigators on this case even now. 1. The campsite was found untouched. Really no signs of struggle or food still being out, belongings so neatly arranged. Droopy the dog somehow traveled home alone 30 miles. Okay, another piece of evidence was the bodies were found 7 miles away in a rugged area not very easily reached on foot. There was absolutely no robbery. There were clearly valuables left behind. The family also appeared to have been taken from their camp alive and murdered somewhere else, and then hidden with a great degree of care. The cave itself wasn't even easily visible. It was only found by chance. Some investigators believe the killer may have been a local hunter or miner who knew the terrain intimately. Others think the Cowdens stumbled onto something they weren't supposed to see, perhaps drug activity, poaching, or illegal logging. There were even whispers about ritual killings, an echo from the 1970s hysteria about cults and satanic activity in the Pacific Northwest, but no evidence supported that claim. Part 7. Theories and Shadows. Theory 1 is that Dwayne Lee Little did it. He was in the area, had access to a weapon, and had previously murdered a young girl. The crime mirrored his brutality and control tendencies, but the lack of physical evidence left this entire theory as conjecture. Theory 2, a stranger passing through. Copper Creek was remote, but near old mining roads. Some suggest a drifter or a vagrant found the family, robbed them, and killed them out of panic. Though, having been removed from all of their belongings and their campsite with all of their valuables, and none of those things having been taken, this theory was fairly readily debunked. Theory 3, there are 2 killers. The strange tidiness of the camp, the care taken to wrap the baby, and the movement of 4 bodies over 7 miles. Some investigators privately believe it had to be more than one person to accomplish this task. Theory 4, local involvement. The Cowdens were from White City. Small-town gossip hinted at possible grudges, but no one was ever questioned deeply enough to uncover motive. One retired detective later remarked, "Whoever did it, they knew these woods better than anyone else alive." Part 8, the ghosts of the Siskiyous. Today, the Cowden family's campsite is long overgrown. The picnic table is gone. The trail is quiet. But locals say the area has a strange stillness to it, a kind of reverent silence that even animals seem to avoid. On misty mornings, hikers have reported hearing the faint laughter of children or the low, mournful howl of a hound dog echoing across the valley. Perhaps it's Droopy still searching for his family, or perhaps it's the forest remembering what it was forced to witness. What we do know is that the Cowden family's killer walked away that day, and the Oregon wilderness has kept his secret for over 50 years. In terms of my own personal opinion, I think that it was Dwayne Lee Little, and based on his intimate awareness of the area, his clear brutality, his desire to kill, and then his continued behavior, killing and raping his way through to basically lifetime incarceration. While I do imagine it was fairly challenging to force 4 people out of their campsite and get them to go to a remote area, I do believe that this could be achieved by one man. And noting that the father in this family had been shot directly in the head seems to suggest to me that he had to be immobilized for the killer to do the real ritualistic work of killing the rest of his family. There's something uniquely cruel about a wilderness murder. In cities, there are walls, cameras, witnesses, but in the woods, it's just you, the wind, and whatever else is listening. The Cowdens went to the mountains for peace, and they found something else entirely. Something waiting, watching, and willing to take everything from them. So next time you're deep in the forest and you think you hear footsteps behind you, remember the Cowdens and listen closely, because sometimes the forest isn't just empty, it's just quiet until it's too late. This has been R.I.P. with Lindsay, produced by Chicken Wrap Productions, editing and sound by my darling producer Spote. If you found yourself glancing at the shadows tonight, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the buttons, all the things, so our little community of darlings can continue to keep growing. You can reach out with your own theories, case suggestions, or eerie tales on our channel page here on YouTube. Until next time, rest in peace.